welcome back. Sorry, had a little bit of a technical issue there. And by technical issue, I mean I was petting my cat. So I guess you'll have to get over that. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Happy New Year to you. I got a big old red dot on my forehead now from my hat. Happy New Year to you. It's 2023. 2022 is kind of shit wall to wall, but we'll see what 2023 brings. Hit the like button. Welcome back. Let me know where you guys are chiming in from. It's good to see you. Welcome back again. Happy New Year to you. We got quite a long show tonight. I actually scheduled the follow-up stream that I typically do after this one for 8 o'clock. I do think we're going to be here for a little while. We got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about China tonight. We're going to talk about a massive strike that killed in the hundreds of Russian soldiers, vehicles, and ammunition because for some odd reason, it was all sitting in the same spot. But then again, Russia's winning. We're going to, of course, see quite a bit of footage from throughout the war in Ukraine. The reason I scheduled the follow-up stream for 8 o'clock is I think we might dedicate a history section of each stream, especially when we have, such a good amount of history footage that's been coming out lately. But we'll get there. How we doing? Where are we at? Song name. That song is called Hyperdrive here from West Virginia. Welcome in. Arlington, Ocala, Florida. North Texas, as always, not moving. Yeah. Stay right there. Stay right there. And I know I need to get a haircut. I keep seeing people talking about the haircut. If you guys recall the last haircut I got, it was all jacked up. So what I've got to do is I've got to grow it back out so that I can have my barber fix the part. Because the new barber I went to, basically cut it down the middle of my forehead. So we're on standby for that. But by the end of the week, I will have one because coming up here soon is SHOT Show. And I want to look all, pretty just in case I run into one of you guys. Anyway, let's get started for the night. We'll cover China here in just a second. I want to talk a little bit about a major strike in Makiivka. I want to pull up the Institute for Study of War map before we get too far down into this so that you guys have a better geographical understanding of where Makiivka is. So let me get that pulled up here. I had everything else pulled up except for the damn map. All right. It's coming up for you guys now. Let's go to a full screen. Excuse me. And we'll go to Makiivka. So that is Makiivka, just outside of Donetsk. Now this strike has been acknowledged before I catch, propaganda. Before we catch the propaganda comment here in the chat, this strike has been acknowledged by Russia. Russia claims that 63 were killed. It was a HIMARS strike on a former school being used to house a large amount of troops, vehicles, and munitions. And that, in my opinion, is suboptimal. Let's just put it that way. Russia claims that 63 were killed. The simple fact that they acknowledge this strike and report a number all the way up to 63 is, quite amazing. Ukraine claims that somewhere north of 400 were killed. Now, who knows which it is? It's probably somewhere towards the higher end of that. But something that's interesting that I want to show you guys before I show you some footage that we have of the scene and of the strike is Igor Girkin. Not like the pickle, like the person. He had something to say about it. Which button am I looking for? That's the button I want. Igor Girkin had something to say about it. Now, I want all of you to just go ahead and read this really quick. Just kidding. Here's the translated version of that. I want to focus your attention down right here. In any case, the number of dead and wounded goes to many hundreds. Approximate numbers of 200s are available, but I will not voice them. If you're not familiar with who Igor Girkin is, again, not the pickle, the person, Igor is former FSB, very prominent voice in very prominent pro-Russian voice. So I'm inclined to say hundreds. you know, that's quite simply why the title reads what it is. You know, who knows exactly what that number is? Russia is not going to be accurate in their final tally, and Ukraine is not going to have the fidelity to know exactly how many were killed. Really, the only ones that know that is Russia, and I don't think that we can expect, you know, really anything anywhere close. But when a voice like Igor's is saying something akin to 200, or hundreds, I think it's safe to say it was hundreds. Let's take a look at some footage from the area. I'm assuming you guys are done reading that, but that's his statement. The first one that we have is our civilians. There's a couple things that I've come to notice about language. You know, the arrival of rockets and in the direction of cities. Josh and I were talking about that earlier. Anyway, what you're going to see here is civilians recording the HIMARS impacts. I've seen many different reports on how many HIMARS were used. I've seen 3 full HIMARS salvos, which would be 18 rockets. I've seen 6 rockets. I'm not certain. But here is footage that civilians recorded of watching that attack come in.
Мы всегда знали, а сегодня тех, кто сейчас здесь, вот здесь рядом со мной, кто на передовой и на прифронтовых убеждениях, здесь личный состав вооруженных сил. Мы всегда знали, а сегодня тех, кто сейчас здесь, вот здесь рядом со мной, кто на передовой и на прифронтовых убеждениях. Здесь личный состав вооруженных сил.
All right, let's bring that back up. Now, I also have some footage here of the aftermath of that strike. And there's literally, Russia has acknowledged that this strike took place. One of the things that we still don't yet know, but has been reported, is, you know, how Ukraine got this targeting data, and reportedly, again, I can't confirm this, and make note that I told you I can't confirm this. They used cell phone data, saw a spike in usage in that one location, probably validating intelligence that they had, that there were a concentration of Russian troops there, or they were already tracking it as a location for ammunition and vehicles already. And then you just stack a few hundred Russian soldiers in there, and what can go wrong when you have a HIMARS? Let's take a look at that footage from the location. Now, like I mentioned, this was formerly a vocational school that Russia had repurposed to house soldiers, vehicles, and equipment, as well as munitions. Now, according to the reports that are out there, the munitions were stored in the basement. And I still think that one of the most pertinent elements to this is Russia's acknowledgement that the strike took place, first and foremost, and secondly, the amount of Russian soldiers that they note were killed. More specifically, they noted that they were mobilized Russian soldiers. Launched in 2022, landed in 2023. Yeah, actually. Yep. Interesting way to start the year. Happy New Year to you guys. One way to ring in the new year. Thanks for the $2, Dan. Torek, thanks for the 5. Happy New Year, Ronnie and Funker team. Sounds like Ukraine's coming into 2023 with a bang. Bang ain't the word for it. Big bada boom. That's probably a better word for that. Zilla, thanks for the 5. You seen that video of the French reporter that was close to the strike that happened today? No, I haven't seen that. Tweet it to me at @RonnieAdkins_. We'll catch that. Gunslinger, thanks very much for the 762. Happy New Year from Camp Krusty, Maine. Happy New Year from my basement in Langley, just underneath the cafe of the CIA building. That's where I'm at right now. Joseph, thanks for the 327. Ronnie, we always think you're pretty. Thanks. Hi. You know just how to treat a lady, don't you? All right, let's move on, guys. I do need to kind of circle back for a moment, though. Oh, I want to show you guys a before and after. Yeah, I used it in the thumbnail, but we have folks that might have just gotten here. quick and easy before and after. Top's going to be, I mean, I'm not going to explain it to you. You can figure that out. 200 is underestimate? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yep. I can agree with that. I don't know the size of the element that was located here, but when Igor Girkin specifically is saying in the hundreds, and Ukraine is saying 400 plus, with Russia saying all the way up to 63. That's a lot. That's a lot for them to admit. It is. So you're looking at a very steep casualty count there. But again, I would say that storing that amount of that much stuff, including personnel, munitions, and vehicles, at the very least, would be suboptimal. All right, let's move on now. Let's move on. We're gonna watch in just a minute. I want to circle all the way back to something we talked about Friday. Friday we talked about a Chinese J-11 that intercepted a American RC-135 rivet joint basically a collection aircraft. It's an intelligence airframe. Well, China released in fantastic fashion their video of how that all went down. And it really doesn't help anything. There is one note that they made, though, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But here's their perspective of that RC-135. All right, we're going to watch that one more time. One more time. So, here's the deal with this. When China released this, their statement effectively said something akin to, the RC-135 endangered the surveillance aircraft, something, But the key word there was surveillance aircraft. Well, this aircraft had beyond visual range missiles on it, right? Full pylons all the way across. So, with that in mind, I submit to the court my spotting scope. Because we could just make shit up now. This is my spotting scope. And on that side over there, when you depress the button, whatever it is you're trying to spot gets lit up. Just make shit up now. All right. I'm sorry. I did that joke. I said that joke on Twitter with my rifle, and I was like, man, I missed an opportunity here. All right, let's move on to actually something that I want us to focus a little bit heavier on, and that is going to be the longest piece of combat footage we've ever watched on this show. It's going to take us 12 minutes. But this footage really helps you begin to understand what war on the ground in the East looks like right now. A unit that goes by the moniker Kraken released 12 minutes of extremely high op-tempo footage. It is not safe for work. We're going to watch it in its entirety tonight. And I might have a few comments along the way, but this is going to be mostly for you guys that haven't had a chance to watch this yet, to really immerse yourselves in what this looks like. So this specifically is from the town of Novoselivsky. Novoselivsky? How do you say that? I'm sure somebody's going to help me out here. What's most important is that we're going to watch the entirety of this. There are dead people in it. You're going to see people taken hostage. You're going to see people being treated and injured and hurt. And this is war. So this video is coming up for you guys now. There is copyrighted music, and we're going to play it.
Кататься по 9,8. Да. Значить, перед цією точкою оці йшла перша. Знаходяться, Беха знаходиться тут, 92-й абсолютно. Тут, очевидно, розмір. Що
So when I first watched this, you know, I went back and I watched it a few times. Right now, what I would consider this is softening or setting conditions for the direct action that's going to follow.
Выпускай Кракена.
Красавцы, лучшие, сука. Там идет дом, видишь? Вот это дом туда. Да, туда выгружаемся.
Работаем, каждый берет свой УАП!
Давай, контролируй эту залупу, блядь!
Нам треба танка прикрити нашу! Відтягуємося цією стороною за нашого танчика! Там дивимося, зрозуміло! Пішли, Сьома! Пішли! Дивимося туди! Пішли!
So something I wanted to note there. Stand by. I've got something else going on in my ears right now. So something I wanted to note there is look at the NCO providing direction on the ground. Right? Very clear definition of roles, responsibilities, etc. I didn't mean to take you guys away from the video, but I needed to fix that sound on the backside. Here you go.
Ты пишешь?
Лечу осколок, блядь.
Остаешься здесь или продолжаешь?
Вон, сел написано.
All right, let's talk about this for a second. This is one of the other areas I wanted to kind of focus. This is some pretty advanced field care, right? I don't know the technical term for that, but what it is essentially keeping his hips together, right? So you can see the tourniquet. It's not just a tourniquet like an S-mark or even a rat's. You know, that's a cat tourniquet, and then they put that girdle on to essentially keep your hips stabilized. Now, contrast that with the footage that we watched Friday of Russians providing medical aid. Oh, there is one thing I want to circle. I want to go back to here. It's a quick shot. Very quick. You got to catch it. Right there. Right there. So this is actually critical. Right? What they did is they taped this Russian soldier's phone, and it looks like maybe a passport or a documents book of some kind. From an SSE perspective, that's going to be invaluable. Kraken actually is a part of Ukraine's military intelligence directorate. So these guys are tracking that this could potentially provide, targetable intelligence. And prioritizing that is something that's good to see. All right, let's come back up. I'll give you guys a map really quick here, so that you can see where that took place. But yeah, I mean, I was just gonna speak to that video, but I wanted us to watch it in its entirety. Let's get the location here. It's in Luhansk. Here you go. That is the location of what we just watched. Along that Kremina-Svatova line. All right, let's jump back over and check in on some of the support, because we need to burn up through some of these videos now that we spent the whole 12 minutes on that one. Torque, thanks for the $5 throwback. December 2021, calling on Ukraine to give up Donbass and Crimea in exchange for peace. Did you hear about it in thoughts? Yes and no. We've kept a pulse on the situation in Donbass as Funker 530 for a long time, to the extent that we do now, of course. No, I don't. And we are just as guilty as kind of the rest of the West, if you will. Not gonna dance around that too much. Now, where it starts to get really interesting is that is pre-official Russia invasion, right? So with Russia actually overtly invading, I can see myself in that situation changing tune as well. All right, let's move, though. Let's move. We are going to be jumping right into some Russian perspective footage here. We're going to see a Russian perspective, and the footage is kind of garbage from a quality perspective, but it is Russian infantry in an urban battle fight for Maryinka in the east. And that video is coming up for you guys now. We're gonna get a lot of copyright claims for this stream tonight. Doug, thanks for the 4 months. It's almost half of a baby. All right, again, that is Russian perspective footage of them, you know, clearly an urban assault near Maryinka. The next one we're going to watch is also Russian perspective footage, but I need to kind of explain your perspective here. Right, so what you're going to see from a weapons system impact is a Msta-B. It's a 152 millimeter towed howitzer. But what you're watching from what we can see is actually a thermal spotting scope, and reportedly there is also a drone that is providing, you know, some form of forward observation for the Msta. Video's coming up for you, and it's destroying a Ukrainian vehicle of some kind. It just said the original report said armor. Here you go. Again, we're going to kind of move here because we spent 12 minutes on one bit of footage.
Уничтожение позиции ВСУ под Маринкой на Донецком направлении. Группа «Викинг» корректирует орудием Msta-B, чьи снаряды калибра 152 мм обращают противника в бегство. Бойцы отмечают, что несмотря на близкие, до 50 метров прилеты снарядов, многие солдаты противника не занимают укрытий, а просто продолжают бежать или брести прочь, что может свидетельствовать о крайней степени усталости или применении ими наркотических веществ.
All right, let's come back up. That's the end of that one. You guys just watched it through. Checking in on the support. Swagger Music, thanks for the 219. Appreciate that very much. Deathwatch 501, welcome to the Funkers. What's up, man? Thanks for the membership. Appreciate that very much. Kelleton, thanks for the 2106. Happy New Year from Finland. Welcome in from Finland. Where's everybody else chiming in from? Let me know in the chat. And Torek, thanks again for the 5. Zilla, before that, thanks for the 5. And Dan, before that, thanks for the 2. Thank you guys very much. Okay, so that's what I had from Maryinka in the east, and we're going to be jumping into Bakhmut now. The next video you're going to watch is going to be a little bit, is going to be not safe for work. Discretion is advised. You're going to see a Russian leaving his fighting position immediately prior to, just before being killed by, presumably killed by small arms. You know, again, not going to speculate too much on this one, but he does leave his relative position of safety to walk right into some small arms fire here. Video is coming up for you now. Now you can just barely make out those small arms bursts impacting around him. That was probably an RGD of some kind, or an RGD, frag grenade of some kind. As he moves out of that position, there are additional bursts. You have to look really closely at the dirt around him. But because of the low video quality, it's difficult to tell. and he is still receiving small arms. Okay, let's bring that back up. That is reportedly near Bakhmut. We're going to see Ukrainian perspective footage coming up next from Bakhmut. And Bakhmut has just been the... more footage has come out of Bakhmut than I think the first few years. In the last few months, than I think the first few years of the global war on terror. It's just footage after footage after footage. And that's a double-edged sword, because ultimately our function and goal is to show you this. But what it's also doing is normalizing war. You know, we always have to figure out what the balance is between normalizing it and making sure people are aware of it, that folks see what war looks like, that it's nasty, it's gross, it's brutal. You know, there isn't always this, you know, binary line where good and bad exists. You know, there are some absolutely nasty things that happen, and justifiably so. But anyway, so the footage you're going to watch next is frontline fighting from a Ukrainian perspective in Bakhmut. Bakhmut still holds. Ukraine still holds it. And that's coming up for you guys right now. We are moving through footage tonight because I've got quite a bit of it. And again, I want to have an end of the stream section where we just do like historical footage on the site as well. Coming up now. This part actually got me. Let me slide my cell phone charger out of the way really quick so I can grab my Carl Gustav. Like...
Да.
Держу. Нужно на плечо.
Що він каже? Пацани, кажіть, що кажуть зараз. Я не чую.
Микрофон повтори.
Держу. Вийшов?
Ні, ніхуя не... Але це схотів бажати.
I see the question in chat. What is this guy shooting at? That's ultimately what happens when you end up with the trench metas. You for a while you just take pot shots at each other. You know, the difference in biggest change now relative to the last major trench war that, you know, most of us are used to knowing of, World War I, is the precision weaponry that's available. We're going to see, you know, a damn racing drone being used to just fly into the trench with explosives on it. You've got systems like the HIMARS, like the Excalibur, that have, you know, sub 5 meter CEPs. CEP essentially being the accuracy. So you're in this trench system where you're really kept from moving, you know, truly forward or backward. You're just a sitting duck to, you know, precision munitions. Now Russia has precision munitions as well. They're just not nearly as capable or in the quantities that it would appear, at least, Ukraine has them, at least at the tactical level. Now, when you begin to talk about cruise missiles, the KH-55s, Caliburs, etc., you know, even from a precision perspective, I wouldn't really put them in the same book as, you know, some of America's systems. Russia has quite a few. There's a lot. They are using them at a very high rate. I don't know at what rate is, you know, are they getting close to running out of them? I don't know. I don't have the answer. Ukraine says they are. Russia says they aren't. Let's go to the next one that I wanted to watch, though. So also in Bakhmut, the TOS-1A. Heavy flamethrower. This thing is nasty. This also gives you a bit of context on Bakhmut. You know, most folks here should be familiar with the state of Bakhmut right now. But if you aren't, here. Check this out. Russia's essentially fighting a NATO force at this point. No, they aren't. No, they're not. They might have some NATO weapons, but they do not have the combined. Ukraine does not have the combined arms capability on hand that NATO would be able to bring to bear. So the argument that, you know, Russia is fighting NATO, they're absolutely not. NATO hadn't arrived. NATO's not there. Right? It's Ukrainians using some of NATO's equipment. You know, from a relative percentage standpoint, 90% of statistics on the internet are arbitrary and are made up. So is this one. I would say we might, from a variety perspective, have given, I don't know, 10%. Right? They don't have Abrams. They don't have any NATO air. They have one, you know, real truly capable air defense in the Patriot, the one Patriot system that's arriving. NATO, they are not fighting NATO. This looks much different, much larger, much grander scale. If NATO engages and gets involved. Aircraft carriers, precisely. Subs. Oh my goodness. I don't know. All the other boats. I don't know the difference between a boat and a ship. All ships are boats. Not all boats are ships, though. NATO has so much more than what's been provided. Let's move on. All right, we've got 142 HIMARS impacts on Wagner positions, somewhere near Bakhmut as well. No sound to this one, guys. Reportedly 142 HIMARS. I don't know for certain. BF, I'd probably agree with you. Russia's been shooting missiles from the sea at Ukraine. Actually, we're going to see some footage. We're going to see that footage. Caliber missiles. Yep, absolutely. Not even 10%. Yeah, it was an arbitrary percentage, shot in the dark, Here come the bots. Don't feed the wildlife, guys. That's not HIMARS. I don't know how you can say, truly for certain. It's very top down. So, maybe. All right, so from Solidar, this one might be a little disturbing to watch. What you're going to see is a Polish volunteer medic transporting and consoling an injured Ukrainian. Now, we don't, on the 530 platform, I don't consider this to be combat footage. I consider this to be, the context of combat, the result of combat. And I like to show that here. So that footage is coming up for you guys right now. We focus intently on direct action, on weapon systems being used. Here is that video.
Все буде добре, братик. Wszystko będzie dobrze. Все буде добре.
Widać już toczkę.
Все буде добре, братик. Будеш жив. Все буде добре, братик. Wszystko będzie dobrze. Все буде добре.
Widać już toczkę.
Все буде добре, братик. Будеш жив.
All right.
Все буде добре, братик.
Again, that's one of those context videos that I wanted to pull up for you guys. I need to check in on the support over here. Thanks again, guys. Charlie, thanks for renewing, for hitting the member button. Appreciate it. Welcome to the Funkers. Swagga, thanks again for that $2.19. And Brian, thank you for $53 super chat. Happy New Year, Ronnie and crew. Rock and roll never dies. Thanks for that. We're just pleased to have everybody here. Thanks for being here. Do tap on the like button for us. We try to ride as much of a middle line as possible. I do think it's in everybody's benefit if Russia gets the out of Ukraine. But the platform itself is really here to show you the videos raw. So if you guys would like to see these videos raw without me talking over them, download our app. Over 300,000 downloads, something like 5, 6, 7,000 5-star reviews on the App Store, as well as on the Google Play Store. And if you guys want to support us directly and not have Google take 30% of your money, try a Funker Pro account so you can watch all this stuff without ads. We know that we're not always the fastest to post it, but what we are trying to do is have a one-stop shop that that you're going to be able to find footage of the 9M22S thermite munitions being used in Ukraine, or footage like the HIMARS being used, or if you're looking for Vietnam history footage, World War II footage, Global War on Terror footage, you have the app in your hand and you can pull up footage to take a look at whenever you want to. That's what we're here to do, is document that and collate it into one spot. ! App. If you guys don't have it, give it a shot. All right, let's move on to our next one here. So this one is actually one for us to talk about for a moment. We'll watch the footage first, and then we'll chat. But I think we might have an answer to a question that I've received, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 times. Check this out. I'll give you the details on it here in just after we watch the footage. There is no sound to this one, guys. No sound on this one. Yeah, Torque, thanks for the $5, dude. Ronnie team, ever thought about creating a map that shows a rough location it was filmed? I do try to provide that location contextual footage. If the stream itself were, really the only thing that we had to dedicate time resources to, then yeah, absolutely. I'd love to focus more intently on location, on deeper dive analyses. My full-time gig is behind the scenes at Funker 530. Doing this is a love of mine. It's something that I intend to always do in one form or another. But behind the scenes, ultimately, my job at Funker 530 is managing our relationships with our partners that are out there, our even our friends on YouTube. Staying in contact with them, engaging with them. We do have our partner organizations like Armored Republic, like ATN. I manage those relationships. So I have a full-time gig that I spend the majority of my day doing. So it's a time resource thing, to be honest. And then I'll come back to that here in just a second, give you guys a little bit more insight on it. But I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this drone that you guys are watching. All right. Now, the original report that went all over the place was that it was some Polish Perun drone. Perun. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that appropriately. I couldn't find shit on that. Neither could Will. We both tried. We found like one New York Times article that referenced it. We also found that there was, reference to 1,000 some odd unnamed drones from Poland that were making their way into Ukraine. And the only Perun that I could find was this chunky boy. And I'm disappointed that it isn't it. Let's just put it that way. I want that to be what we were watching video of. That's a unmanned ground vehicle with an anti-tank guided missile on the top of it. That is the Perun UGM. But that's not what we were looking at there. That's not what we were looking at there. Now, I'm wondering if there's a potential that what we're seeing is the Revolver 860s from Taiwan. We have yet to see that footage. We have yet to see any footage come from the Revolver 860s that came out of Taiwan. And the round count would, as an approximation, I didn't count specifically, but it's around about 8 or so. One of you guys is welcome to go back and watch that and count what we're watching there. But out of those Taiwan Revolver 860s, 8 rounds is what, 8 rounds of 60 millimeter. Taiwan drone, correct. Ukraine was in receipt of these Revolver drones from Taiwan. Let's search the website for those really quick. Revolver. There they are, right there. So these are the Revolver 860s that were... I don't know that this is that footage. I don't have that answer for you guys. But I'm speculating if this is what they are. Just kind of poops out 60 millimeter. Yeah, so again, and I don't remember. 800 units of their Revolver 860. That was, and on the website you can see from our writing team. Will blogged this one originally back in the day. This was actually, how long ago was this? About 4 months ago. So if you're ever interested in a little bit of context on it, you can always come to the analysis section. 18 people don't like Revolver drones. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's what we're watching there. Because, again, I could not find anything on a Perun, P-E-R-U-N, drone from Poland. I couldn't. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Except for this thick boy. God, I want to ride it. Ride it. Ride that sucker. It's got a winch on the front of it, man. I'd sit off the back of it like a little kid with my feet dangling down, Hey, what's up, Green Diesel? I love you too. Welcome to Costco. Poops out, fiery Taco Bell. That's some spicy poops. Yeah. Malachi, thanks very much for the Beast membership. Welcome to the Funkers. Appreciate that. Frost, thank you for the $100, dude. Been watching on YouTube since 2009. Absolutely love the whole story. By the way, partially sending this to ask if there's maybe some sort of code you guys have for a VON service as I'm in the market. A van service. A VON service. I'm not sure what a VON service is. Also, I forget. What was the other cool thing that you guys said earlier? What? Just about nothing that I say is cool, but thank you, dude, for the $100. We're a very small team. And going back to that, there are 2 full-time folks here at 530. We're going to watch a video here coming up in just a minute of Josh's specialty, which is actually armor. And I guess Will's technically full-time. He is also an avid hunter, outdoorsman, and he travels quite a bit for us. So he's been to Ukraine. He's been to South America on behalf of Funker 530. Under most circumstances, he goes with GSMSG. So we're a very small team, and time resources are very, very limited. We extend far beyond just the YouTube, just the stream. This is, like I said, something that matters very, very much to me. Being live, discussing this stuff, because I'm learning as we're going through this as well. Danube Bay, absolutely. Let's watch this next one though. Somebody mentioned this earlier. Russia released video. Like they release stuff that they're releasing video of them firing a cruise missile into Ukraine after they invaded it, you know? Early on in the war, we talked a lot about how we weren't getting footage out of Russia. We just were not getting any. Ukraine set conditions through information early on. In the information space, Ukraine won that battle right out of the gate. And I firmly believe that Russia's probably purposeful decision to not put footage out ultimately led to, you know, the situation that we have now, which is being behind in information space. But now choosing to, you know, release this official footage of these cruise missiles that are just kind of flying into population centers. We're going to watch another one here in just a minute, literally right after this one. It's just going to have the opposite effect. Here you go. Do we have a code for a VPN service? No, sir, we do not. Oh, Frost, thank you for the 10 and the clarity. Yeah, and go back to the Perun thing. You know, there is a Poirun, which is a manpads. But if it's just a spelling problem, you know, I'll check in on that. That one was kind of a late addition. Khmelnytsky was targeted with one of those cruise missiles. I don't know which. And let's watch footage, and I'll tell you what Russia reported that they hit. It's actually some pretty amazing footage. You can see the missile coming in and impacting. Now, what's interesting to this, you know, with this strike, outside of, you know, the footage provides a whole lot of context and value, is the location here. So I actually have this. We are now out of the south, and excuse me, I never even oriented you guys in the last section. The Perun, with our thick boy little ATV there, unmanned, good-looking little thing. That was in Kherson, and then, of course, in the Black Sea, being to the south. So now we're in the west. Let's take a look at where this is in the west, and I'll tell you what it was reported. This was Intel Slava Z that I found this one on Telegram. Now, Intel Slava Z reported that this was the location of the 8th Regiment of Special Forces for Ukraine. It's all the way out here to the west. And I have no reason to believe that it wasn't, because I did a quick search or two on the 8th Special Forces Regiment, and they were founded by the Soviets in Khmelnytsky, right? Did I get that? Did I do it? So that's what Intel Slava Z reported. You know, they aren't really known to be very reliable in the information that they put out. But outside of that, it's really, you know, once again, just another Russian cruise missile hitting a city. All right, coming up. The baby's one month old. I want to see the baby. Thanks, Mosen. How are you, man? I'm just checking in on the chat here, guys. Don't forget to tap on the like button for us. Hey, you butchered it very well. Nice. Hell yeah, dude. All right. That's awesome. All right, we're going to shift into the north, and we still have all of our unknown location footage. This is a little bit contextual. It's technically, you know, it's not combat footage, but it's footage of training. But a little while ago, we've been talking quite a bit about Belarus over the last couple. I'm out of coffee. That sucks. One Nation coffee, by the way. We've been talking about Belarus and all the training and equipment that's moving in. I saw some footage of T-90s arriving in Belarus relatively recently, within the last week or so. But what we haven't really focused intently on is, you know, on the opposite side of the border, not the Belarusian side, but the Ukrainian side. What you're going to watch here is the 135th Territorial Defense Battalion actively training in the north on the border for any incursion or invasion that does come from Belarus. I don't know exactly where on the northern border, but I would assume somewhere where it would matter. Here you go.
Шикуемся!
All right, let's come back up. February, Russia invaded from Belarus. Yep, you're absolutely right. They did. Checking in on the support, guys. Thanks again. You know, just for being here. That's cool. For not being a dickhead in chat. You know, that's also pretty dope. If you are being a dickhead in chat, I don't know. Go do that somewhere else. Go breathe somebody else's air. You're annoying. Lord McCormick, thanks for the 551. Happy New Year to all. We hate war, no doubt. This planet, Earth, good things, terrible things will happen. Don't be afraid. Ronnie and team, thanks very much, Lord McCormick. Wyatt Blessing, thank you for the $20. What do you think the chances are that Ukraine is prepping for another large lightning run offensive like the last one? Extremely high. You're planning and hoping for the opportunity for that at every turn, right? But the conditions have to be appropriate for it. Ukraine set conditions for the last lightning run that they did over time, just degrading Russia's ability to supply its troops to maintain, you know, presence. So you have to set conditions for something like that. Just deciding to send a mass of troops in a general forward direction, you end up doing what Russia is currently doing in Bakhmut, just continuously hitting a wall of bullets. So yeah, I would say that they're active from a position of ignorance, say that Ukraine is at all times planning for that. Blue Ridger, thanks for the $2. Juan Valdez, thanks for the 11 months. Toby, thank you for 41 months as a Funker member. Holy wow, man. Marcus, thanks for 17 months. David, thank you for 11. Bodabar, thank you for 11 months. Benjamin for 11. Blatsky, 11. Andrew for 11. Practical Ken, thank you for 11. These are all from when we started the live streams. Joff, Deltonium, Scott, Alpha, thanks very much for the 11 months. Luis, Stevo, and Robert, thank you for 4 months. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much. All right, so this one's interesting. We're moving into our unknown location footage, so I don't have a location specific for any of this. But what you're going to see is Russian perspective footage, and the original release of this said it could be Liman, could be Bakhmut. Those are two very different locations. So in one of those two locations, these Ukrainian tanks are being targeted and taken out by Russian anti-tank guided missiles.
Хорошо идет. Да, есть цель! Есть цель! Да, сворачивай, сворачивай. Наблюдай, сворачивай. Понял. Давай, ебашь.
I forgot about this part of the video. I should have warned you guys for that one. American TOW? No. No. Maybe a Cornet? Could be a Cornet. But what you just watched is Russian perspective footage targeting Ukrainians. Wire-guided. Seklos. Semi-automatic command line of sight. The TOW, if Russia's in hand of has TOWs in hand, then they've been captured. The only folks that should have the TOW are Ukrainians. But they do have them. They do have them. James, thank you very much for hitting the member button. Welcome in. What's going on? Vaped? Yep. Yep. That's my robot pee-pee that I like to suck on. All right, we've got... this is kind of comical. You know, the original post for this... The original post for this was... It had Benny Hill music over it, so while watching it, I want you to put that in your head. But what you're going to see is a Russian duo battling a fire in their foxhole. Coming up full screen. Yeah, so think the original one had Benny Hill in it. One of them appears to be, pretty injured there on the right. He's not really helping too much, but he's holding onto his leg there. But they're trying to put that fire out. Hello, go back. His leg was on fire at the beginning, yes. But he looks, to be, somewhat injured ahead of that. We don't know what the precursor to this was. Just recorded screen footage of a recording, basically. All right, the next one's going to be kind of a goofy video here. We've got Ukrainian soldiers, barreling down the highway in a very roughly up-armored vehicle. The best. I want to show you guys the thumbnail to this one before we go into it. It reminds me of of my truck in Afghanistan. Spitting image. Prototype armored vehicle. The B Knight, thanks for the $2, man. Jacques willing to pay $100 to see your dog. Since the CIA hasn't paid me yet, you know, if he's floating around, I'll get him to come over here. I want to jump into the next one though. You know why they don't issue militaries around the world, including me, brown pants for situations like this? I have no idea. What gets me at the end of this one is him trying to restart the car. This is a Ukrainian. I don't think it's going to start again. Yeah, I don't know where that was, but that was a Ukrainian driving his vehicle, and well, his pants were kind of brown ahead of time. This one's not safe for work. People die in this one. What you're going to watch is, you know, Russians on a working detail, you know, duty, getting targeted by indirect fire of some kind. I think there was when I first came across this video, a lot of people were positing that they were stealing something, but it looks like they're carrying sandbags, maybe potentially to construct fighting positions. I don't know. It doesn't look like toilets or, you know, flat screen TVs or electronics, anything along those lines. But here is that one coming up for you in just a minute here. Ronnie, what happens when the war ends? Ukraine economy's in the toilet. Millions will be homeless, etc. What's the plan after Victory Day? I'll answer my best shot at that as soon as we're done watching this video. My best shot at that, but it's going to come from a position of general ignorance. Okay? Vehicle was in drive to, it was a stick. Funker is CIA. Hey, is that you guys? Hey, can you send me my paycheck, please? Daddy needs a new AK. So if you could send over that $20 you promised me, that could go into the AK fund, and I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I saw a comment out there. You know, he's in shock and delusional. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong. It's just the force of habit to try and restart the vehicle after you've just been hit by, you know, artillery. Just kind of ironic. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Torik's question. What happens at the end of the war? Well, theoretically, one of the things that's continuously been provided to Ukraine with the majority of these Western aid packages is other general funding. I've talked a little bit about that. We focus more intently on the military equipment that's provided and the value of that military equipment. You know, shocker, it's $22.9-ish billion worth of military equipment. There's a lot more money that's also being provided to Ukraine, and it's an area that I'm to a certain extent ignorant to. We are a military community, we are veterans focusing on combat footage, so it's not really ultimately something that we've focused on. The little that I have looked into it, there's weird things that go on with it. Some of that funding is supposed to be provided for Ukraine to rebuild. Some of it, because ultimately the Hague has found that or is debating on how exactly to hold Russia accountable for the damage that's being done. Now, I've talked about this before as well. Russia will need to be held accountable to pay for some of these damages, to pay for the damage that they've caused. How exactly the world does that? That's for questions. That's a $20 question on a $5 budget. But theoretically, the way it would work is Russia pays for blowing up Ukraine. Will it actually work that way? I doubt it. I don't know. Sweet Mooch, thanks for the $1. The cat left. That one's Megamind too. He's the cutest one. Let's jump into the next one. So earlier I mentioned trenches, right? In contrast, trenches in World War I with, from a relative perspective, inaccurate artillery that's really just blanketing large areas or swaths, right? Contrast that with today, where you can hit somebody on their nose with a drone. I don't know if that happened here. Just keep that in mind while you watch this Ukrainian FPV drone target a Russian trench line. You should read the KH like the H and E in he. I've read that a couple times, Sabro, and I'm pretty sure I already do that. Hirson. Kharkiv. Kraken. Can we get a desktop? I already have my desktop today. Yeah. Patched the hole up and everything. You should get at least one every day. Was that a Switchblade? I'm not sure. So the original report stated that it was a FPV racing drone. It is the new style of drone that we've seen a few times. It doesn't look like the footage we've seen of the other Switchblades. But over the last couple weeks, that view has been really prominent. This reticle that we see here in the middle. That is something fresh. That's for sure. Now, we do have footage of the Switchblade 300s and 600s, and they don't look like that. Is that trench even manned? Doesn't look like it. All right, the next one that we've got, again, we're in our unknown location footage that I have for tonight. We don't have any other context than typically the system being used, if even that. A lot of the footage that comes out of Ukraine, and this is always the challenge for us, is devoid of any additional context or information. And that's ultimately the original intent of this, is to discuss it. You know, what do you guys think this is? What could this be? And we update the analysis section of the website because of it. This area here. But here's what we're going to watch. Ukrainian strikes destroying a Russian mechanized unit. Clayton, thanks for the 5. EU has made plans for the reconstruction of Ukraine after the war. Also, war reparations for giving frozen Russian assets to Ukraine has been discussed. Thanks for that. Joseph, thank you for the 327. For Ronnie's AK fund. Thanks, man. Sweet Mooch, thanks again for that 99 cents. Bob, thank you for the $2. Cropped videos like this could be either side with the logo cropped out. Excuse me. Typically, our original source, we operate off of the original source unless we can refute it. Ronnie's new workout music? No, my workout playlist is full of Elton John. You can never know what it's like. Cold and lowly light shines from you. The next one is that this one was actually posted by Will, but Josh gave us a lot of insight on it. For those that don't know, Josh works for a ballistic helmet manufacturer of whom I'm a big fan. Of both Josh and the manufacturer. This helmet did not come from that manufacturer, but it's not foreign, and you could actually consider, at least from what I understood what Josh was telling me, you could actually consider this helmet saving the Ukrainian's life. The reason is that in this instance, the Aramid ultimately would have provided a path of resistance for the round, and at long distances, around like 545, is going to follow between the layers of Aramid, and that's exactly what happened to this Ukrainian soldier. This Ukrainian soldier took a round to the head, very, 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 like right here, round to the head, but what ended up happening is the round floated around his head and out the back. The layers of Aramid carried that round over his skull and out the back. That's what you're going to see here.
Покажись, братанчик. Це вхід, їбать. Це ви. Покажись, братанчик. Це вхід, їбать. Це виход, нахуй. І, блядь, візьми. І нахуй, сука. Єбать, блядь.
So a lot of people would posit and say, oh, it went, straight through the helmet. If you look at entry and exit, the entry and exit would have chopped off the back part of his head. What ended up happening is it went around, and the helmet saved his life. That's what you're seeing here.
Вхід, їбать. Це виход, нахуй. І, блядь, візьми. І нахуй, сука. Єбать, блядь. Да.
Yeah, and for everybody thinking they're a badass saying, something against Elton John, you know what really turned me on to Elton John? My second deployment. Yeah, in the Ranger Regiment gym, they were absolutely blasting Still Standing, and I was jamming to it. Ain't nothing wrong with listening to Elton. I don't care. People have a problem and challenge with cancel culture. They don't like somebody because they've said something that they disagreed with. Both sides of the aisle have that issue. If I like the music, I'm just going to listen to it. I still use services like PayPal. A lot of people have canceled PayPal, that are gun people because they don't like supporting gun purchases. Whatever. I still use PayPal. I do. It makes things convenient. I can understand the argument of not wanting to use certain things to make them pay for not believing the same way that you do. At some point in time, here we go. We're going down a rabbit hole. At some point in time, we stopped targeting the ideas that people had, and we started targeting the people. And that's ultimately where cancel culture was born, is targeting people rather than ideas. Helping people understand a different idea than holding that idea against them. The Way, thank you for the 20. Josh, thank you for the 2. For 4 to 6 rounds of 5.45. No, I'll be going for 7.6239. Your old standard. I'm looking at maybe we're way off of me getting that. But I was thinking one of the PSA AKs. Good balance of budget. All right, let's bring this one up. This one, Will called this one being photobombed by artillery, and you got to see the thumbnail for this because it's something right out of a textbook. Check this out. I don't think it's not intentional, and you'll see that based on the way the video goes.
Пошли. Це наш братик.
братику. Давай раби.
Any other war zone or just this one? Oh, don't you worry.
Ебать, у тебе відос получився, бля, єбать! Єбать, дивись, зараз подивишся його нахуй, бля.
You know, every time I watch a video with the RPG now, all I can think of is the armorer's course for the RPG and how dangerous it is to take apart the trigger mechanism in there. Like it's like a you'll poke your eye out, kid. That's all that pops into my brain is, you know, maintenance on that damn thing. Maintenance on it, you know, in the field is relatively easy, but when you need to fix something in the trigger group, oh my goodness. All right, let's come up. We have one more video from inside of Ukraine to watch here, and Santa has chosen a side. That's all I'll say. I saved this one for last. This one had to be last. I know we're a little bit late on this one, but I love it.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but Santa's not just flying up there. Santa's sending it. Watch his pylons.
Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun.
Gonna have two separate launches here. There's one. There we go. All right, let's come back up. Only a few U.S. helmets are rifle defeating. ECH Ops Corps has one, and slat plates. Yep. Tracking that. Should we send those over? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, Josh, the company that Josh works for is a small company, and they are held to the standard of your ops cores in your Team Wendy's, which is fine, which is absolutely great, and it's what you want. But a lot of folks don't understand how small they are in the market that they're trying to play in while making ballistic helmets that are capable to the same standard as the ops cores and the Team Wendy's, etc. You know, they're like 14 people deep, and they make fantastic helmets. In fact, I've got one sitting right over there. I bought it. I didn't get it sent to me. And when it comes to, you know, really anything from a defensive posture, I'm all about sending it. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Happy 2023, the year of the Bradley. Yeah, we talked about the Bradley Friday because it's a tank. It's definitely a tank. I tried to pick a fight with task and purpose. If you guys are watching, it's tank. It's by definition, that's what it is, Nicholas. It has a turret. It has continuous tracks, and it has armor. That makes it by definition a tank. Now, I understand that there's a difference between a main battle tank and an infantry fighting vehicle or some form of a troop carrier transport. But by definition, I'm sorry, it's a tank. It even does tank things like drifting. Anyway, Bradley ain't a tank. It by definition, it's a tank. Like I don't know who else needed to hear that, but they did. All right, let's jump into okay. All right. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of perspective on what the new year was like inside of Russia. There we go. I'm only going to play a certain part of this.
Мой новогодний тост будет несколько необычным. В уходящем году Запад пытался развалить Россию, даже не подумав о том, что в строении мира Россия – это несущая конструкция.
Okay, hold on.
Тост будет несколько...
One more time. Read those
В
captions.
уходящем году Запад пытался развалить Россию, даже не подумав о том, что в строении мира Россия – это несущая конструкция.
Russia is the load-bearing structure. There's a joke in there somewhere. I know there is. I just don't want to try to find it. But that's what this goes on to a bunch of dancing and the other part about this that's funny though is look at the crowds like behind. Look at how forced they all look. Don't forget to smile. Throw you in jail. All right, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that. Anyway, yeah, it's a tank, guy. I'm sorry, it's a tank. It doesn't have to be a main battle tank. I'm not saying it's a main battle tank. It's not. Absolutely not. It's still a tank by definition. I don't know. Go look it up. Go Google tank. Merriam-Webster. Anyway, Isaac, thanks for the 205. Definitely a tank. Thank you. That guy knows. Yep. Win Brown, thank you for the 2023 again. B Knight, thank you for the $5 before that. The Way, thank you for the 20. Josh, thank you for the 2. Kelly, thank you for the 527. All right, what I wanted to do now is do this together and hit the. We're actually going to do this on the site. That way, if you guys are on desktop, you're ever looking for something, you know exactly the easy way to do it. I like to help people navigate around, show you where certain things are. So let's check this out. So first of all, if you ever are interested in meeting some of the team members, check the menu. Come on over here and take a look at. You'll hear me talking about Josh all the time, and Will, and Funker, and me, and I don't talk enough about Andrew and the development work that he does for it. But what I wanted to do is take a look through some history footage. The very first one being the USS Yorktown shooting down a torpedo bomber. Some amazing footage here. Somebody said it's CGI. Torque, thanks for the 2. Ronnie, can us the chat be your tank? I thought I was your snack pack. All right, let's bring it back up. And we'll head back to the website and check out just a couple more history, bits of history footage that we haven't watched. Here you go. So we watched both of these on Friday. P-51 Mustangs kind of dominating a German airfield. We've watched this one before. The Sky Raider nearly getting taken out by his own team's napalm. But this one we haven't seen yet. The beginning of the first Battle of Grozny in 1994. I urge you guys to go in and check out Josh's write-up on this. 31 December 1994. That's the best I can do on the quality, though. What happened with the major strike? We discussed that at the very beginning of the stream. Oof. Really, what I wanted you to capture from this is the audio. Josh is a handsome Msta-B. He is a tall drink of water. Let me just put it that way. I've had the chance to meet Josh once, in all my time, working with Funker. I met him just a couple months ago. We actually took the night off of this stream, went up and hung out with him, had a beer. It was awesome. There is one more piece of footage I wanted us to take a look at. I just got to grab it here. Oh. My nephew was here a little while ago. Well, he just left today, and he asked. He loves dinosaurs, and he said, what do you like? And I said, well, big military weapons. He said, what's your favorite one? And I said, the F4 Phantom. That's just a big old thick boy right there. Look at that thickness right there. All right, let's bring it back up. We're going to start to close things out a little bit, guys. Thanks for all the support that's continuing to come in. We've had a very supportive night, and thank you guys so much for it. Torek, thanks for the $5. Ronnie, why after Chechnya have we been afraid of the Russian military? The Chechen fighters lasted longer and are more Russians than thought. I mean, it really just depends on, how that was contextualized growing up. Growing up, Russia was the big bad wolf, or big bad bear, I should say. And that's not to say that they aren't still to a certain extent a capable military when that is the ultimate and primary focus. There is still a part of me that believes that not all of Russia's might is being leaned on at the moment by Russia. They're mobilizing troops rather than dipping into more of their active troops. I believe that they have more equipment that they're not using. We have seen, most of it being used, not most of it from a numbers perspective, but from a variety perspective. A lot of it is aging. The Armada hasn't made its way in there. There are only something like 14 of those total, though, so it's going to end up with having a negligible effect. But to a certain extent, they have numbers. Numbers can make you very capable. Overwhelm accuracy by volume, if you will. We're seeing that in places like Bakhmut. So while I am typically more of a fan of the Western doctrine of the individual rifleman and, individual marksmanship being superior to the wave, you can't discount the wave. It has served them, quote unquote, well throughout history. Big Val, thanks for the $2. There's just something special about World War II footage. Yes, there is. I go to bed at night reading war history. It's just I don't consider myself an expert on history. It's how I fall asleep. And not that it bores me. I just read until I get tired. And that's my favorite section to monitor. Torek, thanks for the $2. Before that, Dan, thank you for the $2. I think Churchill would agree it's a tank. It's a tank. By definition, it's a tank. I understand that its usage is not tank. Until they change the definition for tank, it's a tank. It's not a main battle tank, but it's a tank. A continuous articulating track, armor, whether it be light or heavy armor, and a turret/guns. And yes, I understand that that means you can also classify other things as a tank. It's the same way that you can classify a rib as a boat as well as an aircraft carrier. It's a boat. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. A waterborne craft. I'm out of here, guys. Good night. I'm going to go play Escape from Tarkov. I hope you guys will join me. It's going to automatically redirect you over there where you can make fun of me for misclassifying things and making everybody real mad, because that's fun, and I like to have fun at work. Thanks for being here. We'll see you Wednesday, and stay informed.